Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi. Okay, man, we're looking around. This is the 77 WABC minicast.
So many people in need of God's good word. And the Pope is talking about Iran. The Pope is talking about politics. The Pope is talking about border, and there should be no borders. This Pope Leo character, there was a time in my life where I couldn't imagine saying anything about the Pope. Well, those days are long gone. I don't care. He's a man. That is a person. And for him to do what he's doing and getting involved in politics and not spreading the gospel, talking about, his political viewpoints, he's so out of, this is one of the reasons why people turn away from the Catholic Church. And when they do that, they turn away too often. And having been a Catholic, I love the Catholic Church, but and I am a Catholic, but, too often all this other stuff, this man-made stuff gets in the way, and it becomes a barrier between people, us earthly beings, and Jesus. The idea that you got to go through somebody and you got to do this, that, and the other thing, and you got to, it's just, oh boy, and no meat on Thursdays, Fridays, whatever the hell it is. It's just, stand on your head. I don't know. And for the Pope to do what he just did, and it's just amazing that we have somebody like President Trump who is not afraid, not afraid, and will say it, and it needed to be said, and I'm proud that he said it. But to go further, those in need of God, and we all are, Jesus, it's available to each and every one of us in the Bible. And I think I may have told you before, all of the miracles that started happening in my life when I opened the book, Charles Stanley Life Principles Bible. It is the Bible. It's a King James Bible, the traditional Bible. But someone gave this to me in 2012, and I was annoyed. I said, when did you become such a church lady? And I put it up on the shelf for 4 years. It stayed there. 4 years. As I continued with my, my leisure pursuits. All right, let's just say I was consumed with leisure activities. As Ralph Cramden would say, leisure activities. I can't be the janitor anymore. It interferes with my leisure time. One day, a lot of things came together. I opened that book, and oh my goodness gracious, it started happening. It started happening right away, and I started to get in shape, kind of like an athlete exercising. And all these things started to make sense, and wow, God is real, and Jesus is his son, and he wants this, that, and the other thing for me, and he wants to be close to me, and everything I have, he's given me, and the things that I don't have, he doesn't want me to have, and maybe I'm not ready for them right now. Maybe I'll never be ready for them. Maybe, right? He knows who we are. He knows everything about us since before we were born. I never appreciated that there are 3 heavens. There's the heavens of the clouds and the rain and right? There's that heaven, the heaven of the skies. And the second heaven is kind of what we think of as outer space. And then the third heaven, that's the heaven where we are with Jesus, and everything is awesome and incredible. And the pain of this world is no longer with us. The world is broken. It's supposed to be broken. It was supposed to be. Adam and Eve got us in a lot of trouble all the way back then. A lot of trouble. But here we are. Hey, so Eric Swalwell is no longer running. Here's a guy who needs religion. This is a guy who needs Jesus. My gosh, talk about a guy who was swept away by his own, looking at himself on cable news. Look at me, I'm on CNN. Look at this, look at that. Now he's out. Now let's see here. Cut 9, if you don't mind, please. Cut 9.
They're absolutely false. They did not happen. They have never happened. And I will fight them with everything that I have.
Okay, well, that was Friday, and it's Monday, and he's out of the race. He's out of the race for governor. And, one of the reasons why he's out of the race is our friend Joel Gilbert. All those stories you've been reading about in the Post, Joel Gilbert made them. Joel Gilbert broke the news on all that stuff. What do they write here? I am suspending my campaign for governor. To my family, staff, friends, and supporters, I am deeply sorry for mistakes and judgment I've made in my past. I will fight the serious false allegations that have been made, but that's my fight, not a campaign's. And that's it. 3 days ago, he said, here, add 2 more to my name. F Donald Trump and F ICE. Oh, this is a man who was heading to a very bad place. Very bad place. Areas bragging about crowd size and stuff like that. It all came. Now, 2 things. I do believe he should have quit the race. There's a lot I don't like about this guy. He was one of the managers of the impeachment against President Trump. He's an obnoxious guy, but really the thing that set me off was in 2019, at the age of like 36, he ran for president of the United States. This guy thought he could be my president. Are you crazy? You're not worthy. Come on, man. You know that. I know that, but you ran anyway. I don't know if he did know that. Maybe he just wanted to, right? He's got a Hunter Biden situation, it looks like to me. He's very much, this is Hunter Biden-esque, his behavior. Now here is the message. Here's the full message. By the way, he's hanging out with one of these starstruck billionaires who apparently is no longer starstruck and kicked him out of the house. The reason why he should have quit the race is because of the video of him making out with a girl, not his wife, on a couch where he knew he was being recorded. Carlos, do me a favor. Take this in. I don't think you can run for governor and you're, running around like that. That's the deal breaker. Curiously for me, the deal breaker is not the San Francisco Chronicle story that said he assaulted a woman. No, that's not the deal breaker. I'm sorry. And a lot of people don't like that. That's my position on this. Oh, we know he's a sleaze. He probably did it. I can tell he looks like a sleaze. He probably did it. When we're talking about assault, alleged assault, we're talking about a crime, and that can take away somebody's liberty, somebody's freedom. That can take somebody out of civil society. That's a very serious thing. And the idea that he did something in 2024, allegedly, and a woman is now coming forward in 2026 to make her case the 3 days before mail-in voting starts. She makes her case now against the leading candidate for governor. I can't believe he's a leading candidate for governor, but he was. Here's his entire statement, all right, when he pulls out of the whole thing, right? No. I'm sorry. He still at this point thinks he's got a fighting chance. All right. But you can tell it's pretty much over. Go ahead.
A lot has been said about me today through anonymous allegations, and I thought it was important that you see and hear from me directly. These allegations of sexual assault are flat false. They are absolutely false. They did not happen. They have never happened, and I will fight them with everything that I have. They also come on the eve of an election where I have been the frontrunner candidate for governor in California. I do not suggest to you in any way that I'm perfect or that I'm a saint. I have certainly made mistakes in judgment in my past, but those mistakes are between me and my wife. And to her, I apologize deeply for putting her in this position. I also apologize to you if in any way you have doubted your support for me. But I think you know who I am. For over 20 years, I have served the public as a city councilman, as a member of Congress, and as a prosecutor who went to court on behalf of victims, particularly on behalf of sexual assault victims. That's who I am and have always been. This weekend, I'm going to spend time with my family and friends, and I appreciate those who have reached out to me to show support, and I look forward to updating you very soon.
All right. Well, the update is he's out of the race. A couple of things there. The way he lists his career, you know who I am. I'm a prosecutor. I've served the public for 20 years. That kind of language is dangerous language. It's the language of entitlement. I did these good things, therefore I'm entitled. And I think there's some of that going on here. But I do not believe that anyone should be able to walk into a newspaper, tell a story, they write that article anonymously, I'm sorry. And then you're done politically. This almost happened to Kavanaugh. They wanted it to happen to Trump. Eric Swalwell doesn't have the clout to fight this stuff, right? He doesn't have the stature. Probably doesn't have and hey, maybe he is guilty. But in America, I don't care who you are. You can't just be outraged when it happens to your friends, when something unfair happens to your friends. When it happens to your enemies, I do believe we should be equally upset and concerned. Well, maybe not upset, but it's equally wrong. An anonymous story about sexual abuse 2 years later, and she goes to the newspaper, and then she goes to CNN without going to the cops. Now the cops have to go to her. And what do? They look at her text messages. Oh, the text messages verify. Oh, do they? People say a lot of things in text messages. People posture, people humble brag, people, I don't know. I mean, and especially women, I think, actually, are always kind of like, right? I don't know, that's not sexist. I do think that women are more communicative. All right? If I go on a date, back when I was single, and it doesn't go well, right? She doesn't like me. She's giving me the cold shoulder, right? I'm not going to tell 16 friends what happened. But women will often do that. And he was this, and then he did that, and he was terrible, right? No, I'll just take it as a loss and move along. You know where I learned how to do that? You know where I learned how to be rejected with style? James Bond. Ever see, you're nodding your head. Tell me more, Phil, because it was in, I think it was Goldfinger, and he goes off to the Swiss Alps, and James Bond being James Bond, he sees that very, very attractive blonde at the petrol station, and he starts chatting her up, and she is one cold fish, not digging anything he's putting down, and he's like, well, don't forget to write. He just then he gets in the car and he drives off like, no skin off my apple, whatever. Okay, he took the signal. Hey, you're putting it out. I'm picking up what you're putting down. And I'll take that and, go on my way with my demeanor and dignity intact. And then they're left wondering, right? Again, I was pretty good at this. Back in the day. But being pretty good at that can actually, that's a dead end too. All right, Eric Swalwell, we won't have to worry about him anymore, but we will be worried about our troops. I got a friend of mine, really good guy, and he's on Instagram this weekend, and he's chronicling all of his exploits in Bahamas, right? And he had a great time in Bahamas. He goes into the water. The water down there looks like it's aqua blue. Looks like you're in one of those pools. And he's got little, what do you call them? Turtles. Tortoises or turtles, they're all around him, and he's feeding them. He's having the time of his life. So on Instagram, I say, wow, enjoy yourself, pal. Just think, there are 5,000 men right now on duty guarding the Strait of Hormuz and keeping it open for us. But you enjoy those turtles. You keep feeding those turtles. I know. You can still go on vacation. You can do things. People are managing their lives. Yeah, this is not the number one story in the world right now. Maybe it should be. People are not talking about it the way I quite frankly thought they would. It does feel like a bulk of it is over. Thank God for the ceasefire. But I heard General Jack Kane say that the ceasefire will probably play out. There will be hostilities again before they come back to the table. We got about 2 more weeks of bombing to do before this thing is really super duper done. Iran, you better be smart about this. But right now, the negotiations continue. Don't let anybody say the negotiations are over or they fell through or anything like that. Walking away from the table is part of the negotiation. Got to split for a second. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222.
Roger Stone here. Every day you wait, your money loses value, but gold and silver don't follow those same rules. American Sovereign Bullion gives you access to a nationwide wholesaler network, helping you secure aggressive pricing on real physical metals. Call 844-272-2428 now to get your free gold and silver guide to learn how to protect your wealth with physical gold and silver, delivered right to your door or with a gold IRA. Visit ASBgold.com. That's ASBgold.com for your free gold and silver guide today.